If you thought the Blade battery was really good, the Gen 2 version will most likely shock you. This is the new Blade battery coming to market in August or so this year, and it's not just a tweak, it's a full-on overhaul of the chemistry, as I'll get into in a second. So there's actually been a few versions already, so this will be the third. So there's the Model Zero, which nobody references as the Model Zero. Then there's the Gen 1, which is the one that you can get in the Atto 3, the Dolphin, the Seagull, the Seal, things like that. And that's the one we're all used to. That has 160 watt-hours per kilogram. But the Gen 2 Blade battery brings major leaps in almost every department. Energy density, charging speed, discharge rate, safety, production costs. It's completely different in every way. So let's take a look at why this could be one of the biggest EV battery upgrades, not just of 2025, but possibly for the next couple of years to come. Hello folks, my name is Ben Alexander. Thank you very much for joining me. Just a very quick update. I don't work for BYD or MG or any car company. I don't get paid by them at all. I work completely independently with the CCP. I'm just kidding. Some of the best EVs come from China, but it's fantastic to see the rest of the world starting to wake up and bring their EVs to market, like the Kia e-Niro, the Hyundai Insta, things like that. Fantastic cars. Still, we're all kind of waiting for the Toyota Yaris EV or the Honda Jazz EV or the Camry EV. It's not happening yet, but I'm sure they will come in the next 5 or 10 years. I just talked in a recent video about the Kia e-Niro. There's a couple of them in France, crossed over 500,000 kilometers on the original battery, original motor, just some basic maintenance and service stuff going on. That is fantastic because they're only 6 years old. So last year alone, over 80% of the globe's EVs came from China. So of course, we have to talk largely about Chinese electric vehicles because basically they're all coming from China. If you want to support what I do, you are very welcome to join on YouTube. Just press the join button at the top of the channel, and that helps me keep doing what I do. I also love to see people in the live chats and Q&As. I also do deeper dive videos and live streams on Patreon. You're also welcome to join on there for free as well. There's a free tier. You don't need to put your bank card in or anything like that. It's just free. So let's jump into it. So the energy density, a big deal. So the earliest Blade batteries, the first one which nobody really talks about, that was 140 watt-hours a kilo. Then that quickly jumped up to 160 or so. That's kind of the one we're used to, and that's fantastic. Works really, really well. This is the one that you can get in the Seagull, the Dolphin, the Seal, all of them basically. But the Gen 2 version, we're looking at 210 watt-hour per kilo, so that's actually over 31%, if my maths serves me right. And in the real world, that means that if you buy BYD Seagull now, so realistically, and it can do 300 kilometers on a charge, well, it will do 400 kilometers on a charge. That's really what you're going to see. That means the BYD Seagull or the Dolphin is a package that is much closer to irresistible, not just something that many people will covet. So you'll get more range, same footprint, same space. So let's also mention which cars get the Gen 2 battery, because I'm still getting asked that question every week, basically. So BYD also says Gen 2 is cheaper to manufacture. You're also going to get longer range vehicles as well for less money. It's ideal for cheaper EVs, obviously, which are servicing the more price-sensitive part of the market. It will majorly transform the more expensive part of the market. Charging speeds. Gen 1 could do 3C charging. That's pretty good. Roughly 30 to 40 minutes from 10% to 80%. The next generation, so the Gen 2 battery, can do up to 8C charging, meaning you could recharge from 10 to 80% in 15 to 20 minutes, roughly. That is a big deal in places like Australia, Europe, where charging infrastructure is limited. Electric cars are becoming much more common very, very quickly. People kind of want to just be less stuck at a charger. So I personally don't mind waiting for 40 minutes or an hour, but I know a load of people definitely don't want to be doing that. You want to be there for 15 minutes, get home, get it on charge, have a cup of Yorkshire tea. Discharge rate also gets a big upgrade. That's double now. So it was 6 to 8C discharging in the Gen 1 battery. Now that's 16, in the Gen 2 chemistry. So that is a huge deal for performance cars, especially in Europe, for example, if you go to Germany. So if you ever follow the tests on the Autobahn, some electric vehicles, BYDs as well, even the premium ones, they throttle charging performance after sustained high speed. Gen 2 aims to avoid that. So I think it's largely irrelevant to most of us. Obviously, especially in Norway, it's super slow. In places in Norway, generally, you'll find yourself going 80, 90, maybe 100 if you're lucky. You'll know for yourself if you spend a lot of time driving in different places like Australia, England, continental Europe, Germany, Norway. Norway's quite slow. But also, the UK feels really, really crazy fast after being in Norway or Australia. It's a really interesting thing. So let's talk about battery life and safety. So the first generation Blade battery could manage 3,000 to 4,000 full charge cycles, and then they kind of think that the battery's becoming closer to you wouldn't want to use it. The new one, over 5,000, so there's a definite jump there. In the real world, I don't think that it's going to be a big issue. BYD says that that's a lifespan of up to 1 million kilometers. That's truck or taxi level durability, if I'm honest. And I think the car's electronics will probably fail before the chemistry does. That might not even happen in the car's lifetime in the next 20 years for a lot of cars. I mean, most people do maybe 10 or 20,000 kilometers a year, something like that. And if you add that up, obviously, that's decades, obviously. So if you've seen any teardown videos, you'll know that the internal build quality is top notch. I mean, it's pristine. I think I may have called it a masterclass in how to put together a battery. I think it genuinely is a piece of art when you open up the batteries from BYD. So safety-wise, both Gen 1 and Gen 2 passed the infamous nail penetration test, but Gen 2 can withstand even more. So it remains very, very stable at temperatures over 300 degrees centigrade. When you cook it in an oven, if you take a battery cell, put it in an oven, cook it like crazy, nothing happens. It's very, very stable. And it can be overcharged by 260% without failing. And it still works perfectly after being pushed that far. Obviously, you shouldn't do that. Definitely don't be trying that at home. But in each of those tests, other than the nail penetration test, the battery still worked perfectly fine, although it's obviously no longer safe to keep using it in theory, and I don't know if the capacity suffered. Probably did, but still worked perfectly fine. So this makes it especially appealing for things like taxis or vans or trucks, delivery fleets, things like that. So all buyers looking to own their EV long term for 10, 20 years. A lot of people like to keep vehicles for 10 years, 15 years, obviously. I'm one of those people, if I can. Production costs down 15 to 20% per kilogram. And the Gen 2 cells are designed for, obviously, BYD cell-to-body structure, so that also means more energy can fit into the same space. Volume efficiency has gone up from 50 to 60%. So what does that actually mean for you? It means better value. You should, in theory, pay less for your better EV in the future. So lower prices, better range. BYD will save some money, and they should pass some of that cost saving to the consumer, which is you and me. So BYD is about to flood the market with very affordable EVs this year and next year, and the battery is the key to decimate all, basically, with new factories opening up in Europe and Asia. They're going after markets like India, Thailand, Europe, and obviously as well Australia. So here's the big question. Can LFP chemistry like this compete with NMC chemistry in the premium space? I think it can, because you all tell me you'd much rather buy LFP chemistry than NMC chemistry, and there is no major upgrade for NMC chemistry, and the energy difference in density, energy density difference is now basically it's on par, roughly speaking, in the Gen 2 chemistry, and also with the new ones from CATL, which is the world's largest battery manufacturer. So this seems to me like it's it. This is kind of like the nail in the coffin, probably, for NMC. And NMC is usually found in longer range EVs like the MG4 long range, the Tesla Model 3 long range. But the Gen 2 Blade battery is closing that gap, like I just said. So it's longer lasting, safer, cheaper, charges nearly as fast. So let me know what you think. Could this be the battery that finally makes LFP the go-to option, even in high-end cars? Please put your thoughts in the comments. I'll be reading all of the comments over the next few days. Thank you very much for your time. Really, really appreciate that. I don't take it for granted at all. And I hope the video is interesting to you. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already, and check out the Patreon page and join for free to get deep dive videos, live streams, and you can get access to polls and comment on things. Thank you very much.